Hey friends, this is Gina. Welcome to the Rebookery channel. I am so excited to share two journals with you guys today that I'm going to be putting in my shop this weekend on Sunday, October 14th at 9 a.m. Central Time. These are my much anticipated strawberry shortcake tri-fold fabric journals, and I am in love with these. These are every bit of what I thought they were going to be, and they are juicy, and they are soft, and they are squishy, and they are just, I'm so thrilled with them. I want to make some more because I really love how they turned out. So let me just kind of walk you through the components of what I have. I made these journals out of a 1980s strawberry shortcake bedspread. So on the inside is the bedspread, and I'll take a couple of things out to show you. It's not a real thick bedspread, and it's got like cotton batting or polyester batting on the inside of it. So it's fairly thin, but you can see it was kind of a quilted bedspread, and it has the images, and they're kind of faded. And it just reminds me of like a bedspread I would have had on my bed at that time period. So the inside is the bedspread, and then the outside is just some fabric that I have laying around. I think they're two different fabrics. So this one is this kind of pink flower one. This one is also a pink flower, but it's flannel. So this one's not flannel, this one is. And then there is an inside pocket. These are so big, I need to make sure I stay in frame. Another inside pocket, and then a pocket in the back. And so it will wrap up and then go around with a vintage sheet. There's a button, there's trim, there's bits of quilts. The binding, I used buttons. Here is a bit of an old quilt from my great-grandmother. It would have been my great-grandmother. So this is a quilt from my great-grandmother, an old quilt of hers. Some vintage sheets, some fabric scraps, some trim, some lace. And it's pretty, you know, squishy, which is awesome for fabric journals. It reminds me of my This Is Me journal. So if you've watched my channel, this is the journal I made this summer out of my old baby clothes. And I've been keeping track of my memories and stuff from when I was a little kid, from like 1971 to the early 1980s. So this was my inspiration for the strawberry shortcake journals. The only difference is this one I was able to use an actual book. So my This Is Me journal doesn't have an actual book that goes with it, but this I was able to use. I got two strawberry shortcake books, and I pulled them apart. They were in kind of sad shape. Pulled them apart, and I was able to use both books as the covers for the journals. So this is the front, and then here's the back. And so let me walk you through what I have on. Oh, and then this is just a little pin. Sorry about that. This is just a little pin. It's not strawberry shortcake, but it's kind of from that time period. The 1984, I think, is what it says. So just that kind of fun, girly doll stuff that was going on during that time period. So I've already stuffed the pockets with all kinds of goodies. So you'll see that the pockets are already stuffed. And then I'll walk you through the papers and stuff that I have. This one has 5 signatures, and I think 9 pages, which would be 18 pages per signature. I'll have to check and see, like I'll have to go back and count and make sure, because right off the top of my head I can't remember. And I'll actually put it in the description when I put it in my Etsy shop. So for the first page, there's a little like vinyl piece here that's just like a piece of a flower. It's attached to some scrapbook paper and then some flocked trim. I have some really cool coloring books that I found called Me BB, which I'm sure is my baby. And they're old, but they've been kept in really good condition, and they're very thick. So they're not brittle like normal coloring book pages. So I used a lot of these coloring book pages in this journal. They'd be a great background, but because the paper is that good coloring book paper, it would take like watercolor and colored pencils and of course crayons very well if you wanted to add something else to it. Scrapbook paper, strawberry shortcake book pages, ledger paper, and then I made some tags out of strawberry shortcake images, music paper, some quilting patterns, more strawberry shortcake paper from some various books, and that's the first signature. They're pretty much all the same. I just varied the pages, and every once in a while I would throw in some random paper, like you might see a garden book page. So this is pretty cool. This is a coloring book that the same place where I got the other coloring book, I found this coloring book. This was a 1970s coloring book, 1975 I think, and it was huge. And it was more than I usually spend on estate sale stuff, but it was just so cool, and the paper is so thick. So I used some pages from my giant coloring book, and then because I didn't want to cut any of the image away, I just made it be like a fold up, so you could use this whole thing. You could actually color it in, you could put stuff over top of it, you could leave it just like it is and write all around it. There's lots of different things that you can do with that really special paper. Quilt patterns, more ledger paper. These are from, I think 1968 and 1971 were the years on the ledger paper. Some security envelopes. I took my little coin holders. So if you're a coin collector, you would put your coins in these little plastic holders. And I did this on my last journals that I sold last weekend. And I just sewed them in a signature, and then just put little cutouts. You can put photos in here. You can put buttons in here because each one of them has an opening. You could put patterned paper in here. And it's cool because you can see through to both sides. Lots of trim. I used a lot of bright colors, pastel colors, sunshiny colors. So this is a page from one of those big coloring books, and this one, the previous owner had actually painted it. So this is paint, and I don't know what kind of paint it is. I can't tell if it's like tempera paint or if it's acrylic paint. It doesn't feel like acrylic. It feels more like tempera paint, like it was a powder-based paint. But anyway, I thought that was so cool because it's already painted, and now it's got the evidence of the previous owner, and then you can add your cool stuff on top of it. I went through and stapled just some trim and some different little bits on the edges, not of all of the pages, but of a lot of the pages, to just kind of add a little bit of extra juiciness. In the back, there's a pocket again, and then I just tucked in some tags and a little thing of stickers. And then over here is a paper doll and some more little journal paper. So that is this one right here, and it is the Sad Sunshine one. So I'm going to call this one the Sad Sunshine, because I think this was actually the name of the book, was something about Sad Sunshine. So Sad Sunshine, okay. Then the other one I have is basically the same, except there is just a slight difference. So this one has a purple vintage sheet as its tie. It's just got different trims, the same quilt. It's got flannel fabric and the same types of trims and laces and everything. Same pockets on the inside. The same strawberry shortcake bedspread. But the difference for this one is when I made this one, I did not splice the book cover. So the book covers that I used are very thick. They're very thick, they're very sturdy. And because they were so thick and sturdy, I had to make my spine a little sturdier. So it's still a soft book and a soft spine, and it still has so much squishiness, but it's more rigid than the Sad Sunshine. So it's a little more rigid. You can see this doesn't bend or anything, whereas this one does. This one's more flexible, and this one is more rigid. I don't know which one I like better. I like them both. But yeah, this one was a little bit tougher because I had to hand sew it. I could not put this through my sewing machine. So this one has been hand stitched. This is some old yarn from some lacing cards. And so here's the front, and then here's the back, and I hand stitched, and then you'll see my messy hand stitches on the inside. I put a little button here. And basically these are the same exact components. I use the same papers and everything, but I just mixed up like, you know, little details and things. So the flocked pocket, the coin protectors, the coloring book pages, strawberry shortcake pages. This is a birthday card that it's a mermaid, which doesn't really fit the theme, but I thought it was kind of cool because it's just kind of girlish and kind of just reminds me of that time period. I like these pages, the size of them, because they are they're very generous, and not all the pages are the same size. You'll see some are a little bit taller, some are a little bit wider, but they're very generous in size. So it reminds me a lot of my little journal because the size is similar to that. It's not as big as my little journal, but it's pretty close. And I like doing that because it feels more like a scrapbook page when I have a larger journal page to work with. I feel like I can get more stuff on there. Some people, it intimidates them to have a bigger page. I like the bigger pages. And then sometimes I like the smaller pages. Some quilt patterns. Some coloring book pages that have already been, some of it's been colored in. This is a pocket that I made with some upholstery fabric, some samples, and so I just made a pocket, and then I stuck a envelope in there, and I just did some stitching on the envelope. And then this is a music book. This is the cover. And this is here was the cover page to that coloring book. So Kim's Genuine Antique Dolls coloring book from Red Farm Studio. So nice, thick, interesting coloring book. And I've been holding on to it since the summer, and I just hadn't had the right journal to put it in. But these Strawberry Shortcake journals, they just seem to beg for those coloring book pages. Okay, so there's that one. Fold it up, wrap it around. So I'm going to call this one the Cookbook Strawberry Shortcake. And this is the Sad Sunshine Strawberry Shortcake. And you can see they're very similar in size. And like I said, this one is a little more flexible, whereas this one is more rigid. But other than that, they are the same. And I love them. And I think if you got this journal, it would be with you for a long time. Like, you are going to be able to hold on to this journal. Oh my gosh. Depending on how often you journal, you're going to have lots of time in here. I know my little journal is a 4-inch spine, and is this year 3 that I've been in my little journal? Of course, I don't journal as often as I wish, but yeah, you're going to be in these journals for a while. You're going to be in this for quite a while because there is so much room to grow. So again, these will be in my Etsy shop Sunday, October 14th at 9 a.m. Central Time. And then watch for another video coming this weekend. I am going to be listing some really cool things in my shop on Wednesday of next week. Wednesday is it 17th, I think? Anyway, I'll put details and stuff in the video, but I'll just give you a little hint. Childcraft books, golden books, surprise. Just saying. And I have a lot. So I'm really super excited about that. Watch for the video coming up this weekend, and then these will be in my shop on Sunday. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you're healthy, I hope you're happy, and have a great rest of the day. Bye.